everyone, and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rutan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show, where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And once again, I realized I forgot my mic, so I'm hoping that the sound on this turns out good. It has in the past, but the external mic seems to help it to be a little bit more consistent. I gotta move my chair over. Don't quite have it in the middle. There you go, self-production. Sometimes that happens. We're going to look at, it's still Washington Wine Month. August is Washington Wine Month. I'm dedicating these episodes to Washington wines, and we're going to do some blends. And I have a question for you. For those watching, and you might know the answer, maybe you don't. We're going to answer it at the end of this episode. Which country, which region really made blends famous? Do you know the answer to that? Now, there may be a couple of opinions out there, but I can think of one area, one region, one country where blends really put them on the map. And do you know the answer to that? We're going to answer it at the end of this. So we're going to get started right off. And once again, we have the issue of whether or not to put the grape varietals that are in the blend on the label. And should you put percentages? Now, Justin said he likes the percentages. I like them too, but I would just be happy if they just put the lousy grapes on there. Just let us know what's in it. This is a 2012 North by Northwest red blend. The appellation is Columbia Valley, Washington. And this is a blend of, see now they just put the grapes on the back, but at least this gives us an idea. And usually the first grape mentioned has the most to the last, which has the least. This is Syrah, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Cabernet Franc. There you go. You will find, in most cases, that blends from Washington State have Syrah in them. Washington, like I said, produces some fantastic Syrah. And they use them a lot in the blends because Syrah is actually, you know, the sales have dropped off, for sure. And so they're using them a lot in their blends. This rolls in at $14. And let's get a little close-up of the label. I think it's funny, the original label didn't say North by Northwest on it, but they put it on the label now. Maybe people couldn't quite figure out the name. What's NxNW? Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of times it's hard to figure out what they're trying to get across with the name. Let's see what we get on the nose. So the Syrah comes out right away. I get a lot of like smoky cherries. Pretty powerful on the nose, actually. A lot of red flowers coming through. Get a little bit of boysenberry and plums. Let's see what we get on the palate. So this is nice and soft on the mouth. I like it. Actually, red fruit comes through quite a bit. I get red cherries. I get boysenberry, which is black fruit. I understand that. But I get a little bit of red currant. I get a little bit of that smokiness that comes from the Syrah coming through. And right on the backside, I get a little white pepper. This is a solid wine. This is a wine that a lot of people are going to like. For 14 bucks, it's a really good play. I like the red fruits. I'm getting a little bit of a licorice component coming through. Nice smooth tannins, but good structure. There's acidity, which is key when you're having food. If you ever want to know if a wine goes with food, you got to have acid. A little bit of that brightness that comes through helps it to, especially with meat, the fat on the meat, that acid and the fat on the meat kind of breaks it down. The proteins and all that make the wine a little bit softer. This would be a good match. I like the red fruits and the red flowers coming through big time with just a little bit of what I'd call boysenberry. $14. Just a little bit of that charcoal from the Syrah coming through right on the backside. You know, it's not super you know, impressive wine, but it's good. I'm going to go B minus, C plus. I think it's a good bottle of wine for $14. I really like it. I do. Project North by Northwest red blend. Good job, guys. Good structure. I mean, I could really see having that with hamburgers, hot dogs, pizza, all that stuff. Let's move on. Sleight of Hand Cellars, the Conjurer 2013 Columbia Valley Red Wine. Trey Bush's winery sleight of hands. And this puts on the back the percentages and the varietals, which I really appreciate. 60% Cab, 25% Cab Franc, and 15% Merlot. So very much a Bordeaux style blend. $30. Now I believe that I have this in the store at about $24. So it just depends on who has it, what price range. But the suggested retail on this is $30. And that's a picture of Neil Patrick Harris on the front label. Probably noticed that. He used to have a bottle of Sleight of Hand Cellars. He used to have a bottle of Sleight of Hand Cellars and all that How I Met Your Mother. So when they needed somebody for their label, they emailed him and he said, yeah, I'll be on your label. So it's kind of cool. Neil Patrick Harris. So let's jump up the price range here and see what we get on the nose. Ooh, the Cab Franc coming through big time. I got a little vegetal action coming through. Some twigs and lettuce and asparagus. But behind all that I get black currants. A little bit of violets, big time on the violets. I love that. There's also a little bit of a little vanilla coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. You know, not all the time you see you go from 14 to 30 and there isn't really quite that price discrepancy on these wines, but not all the times you feel the difference. But I really get it in this wine. This is bigger, bolder wine. A lot of good structure. The fruit and acidity really meld well together. I get black currants for sure. I get a little bit of black raspberry, just barely, in the middle of the wine. And a little bit of white pepper on the finish. The violets come through big time, front to back. It's very big wine. This wine will definitely age for 5 to 10 years. I would not be afraid to lay it down. And right on the back end, you get a little bit of that Cab Franc kind of asparagus, broccoli salad thing, but it's not prominent. It certainly melds well with the currants, black raspberry, a little bit of wood coming through, a little bit of oak. You get a little bit of oak, but not a lot. It's very well made wine, very good structure, very nice, but yet it's smooth at the same time. So again, a lot of you will like it. It's not a fruit bomb by any stretch. Yeah, and it has a nice tobacco hit right on the back of the mid palate into the finish. I like that a lot. Well built wine. I'm going to go A- on that. I think it's very good. Let's move on. A-, good job. Got a C-, B-, C+, B-, A-, big jump there. Let's move on to the Owen Rowe. Abbott's Table Red. And this is from Columbia Valley, 2013. This rolls in at $22, and I have it at the store right now for 19 or 20 bucks, which is a really great price for this wine. A lot of the Irish in this wine. David O'Reilly is a winemaker, obviously Irish, and you see a lot of that in the label. Very cool labels. Very cool labels. Now, He does not put the blend on this one, and you know, David, you got to do it. I wrote it down somewhere though. So I looked this one up online. Usually I kind of boycott that. It's like, okay, you're not going to tell me what's in it on the back of the label, then I'm not going to mention it. But I will in this case, because I was kind of curious. It's 41% Zin, 34% Sangiovese, 11% Malbec, 9% Blaufränkisch, or Lemberger, as we call it, and 5% Merlot. So basically what we call a kitchen sink blend. And but you know, Abbott's Table, I can remember when it was all the rage. It was one of the original, what I remember as one of the original blends. And blends are huge now. Everybody's doing blends. And of course they don't call them Claret or Meritage. They just give them any name they want to give. It's kind of cool. I think you have to pay for those other names. And I think actually, unless you were grandfathered in, I don't know whether it's Claret or Meritage that you can't even use. So let's see what we get on the nose. Predominantly Zinfandel. This is very like one of those brooding notes. I get chocolate, black currants, a little bit of rose petal coming through. A lot of licorice on the back end of this one. Very interesting nose. Let's see what we get on the palate. This has white pepper and a little bit of black pepper all day, front to back. You get it right away. Very spicy. You can tell it has Zinfandel on it, but it has good structure, so it doesn't go into that, you know, gigantic Zinfandel, you know, fruit mode. It's very restrained. A lot of currants coming through. The rose petal kind of backs the currant, so it's like somebody crushed some rose petal, mixed it with the black currants, and then threw a little white pepper, ground a little black pepper in there. And then you get the cherries coming through, the red cherries, mostly on the red side coming through on the back end. It's a good bottle of wine. It's mouth-watering, good acidity, good balance, front to back. Getting some tobacco notes, and then kind of has an attitude at the end, grits just a little bit, which I like. Meaning that you need to have this with barbecue or any meats. You're having stew this winter, fall, you're having stew, you're doing burgers, you're doing pizza, you're doing steaks, you're doing lasagna. This would cover all those areas. It's a great bottle of wine. Good vintage, 2013. I was actually very, very excited to try this wine. I sell a lot of it, especially at the $20 price range. It does really well. It did okay at the... Actually, it's like 24 bucks, regular price. So, you know, pretty good. Good job, David O'Reilly. This is one of his pet projects. He really likes doing this wine. He doesn't just throw in extra barrels, you know, barrels that he didn't use in his other wines. He actually picks the fruit for this wine, which is very cool. I like that. And I'm going to go A- on that one also. I think it's very well made for 20 to 24 bucks. It's a good play. So there you go. I believe this is the third episode this month. I haven't been cranking them out as much. Been really busy. It's really busy at the store. Self-production. Actually, a funny thing, just a quick story. Funny thing is I was loading one of my videos last, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, and somebody bumped the cord and it disconnected from my camcorder. So I got to load that one today. This one will go up tomorrow. Beautiful day outside. It rained this morning just a little bit. Beautiful day. I'm a little concerned about no rain. Not usually say that, but we've had a long stretch without any rain. I'd love to see the golf course get drenched. Helps us play golf a little bit better. Thanks for watching. Remember, wine is not a mystery. It is just fermented grape juice. Drink it. Enjoy it. Be willing to try new things. Expand your palate horizons. Don't get stuck in a rut. But, that being said, never ever let anybody tell you what you should or shouldn't like. And if you do that, together, you and I can take the snob out of wine.